So look, if you're looking at the charts today, ETH is pumping, and that means the merge trade narrative is alive. But how are you going to play it? Well, I'm going to show you some of my tactics for the next week to 10 days or so, and all of that is coming up. Platforms that ensure the safety of their clients' funds will help build trust in the crypto space. That's why Nexo is setting an example by putting security first and making sure that over 4 million customers have instant access to their funds all the time. On Nexo, you can buy crypto and automatically start earning daily interest. Use the exchange to restructure your portfolio in seconds while getting rewards on every swap. You can also get instant liquidity without selling. Simply borrow against your crypto at rates as low as 0%. Visit nexo.io and find out for yourself if that's the right place for your crypto. BitRefill allows you to shop online and physically without banks, converting your crypto into merchant balance directly without any sign-up. It offers more than 5,000 gift card options in 180 countries, and in the USA, you can now pay bills like your mortgage or credit card. Creating a BitRefill account is not required, but it only takes 1 minute, and you can get 1% back in rewards. When you shop for plane tickets, you probably use Kayak, Expedia, or Google Flights. So why would you limit yourself to just one exchange when you trade crypto? To make sure you're getting the best possible price, you should use a DEX aggregator like Matcha. Matcha routes your orders across all the various DeFi exchanges on Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, BSC, Phantom, CeeLo, and Optimism to provide the best possible prices without taking any commissions. Matcha has integrated fiat on-ramps so you can buy directly with your credit or debit card and uses smart order routing that splits your order across multiple liquidity sources. With Matcha, you can make limit orders on chain so you can set and forget your DeFi trades, and now Matcha even offers gasless trading. Head over to matcha.xyz/Defiant and connect your wallet to start smarter with Matcha. So let me first say, I don't often say this, but today it's very, very true. This is not financial advice. And if you are looking at the ETH trade and thinking, that looks as fat as Vitalik's trousers, well, you're not the only one. So let's dig into how we might decide to play this. So when is the merge happening? 13th to 15th of September. This is Vitalik's tweet from yesterday. The merge is still expected to happen around the September the 13th to 15th, around 2 days in that 2-day period. And what's happening today is the Bellatrix hard fork, which prepares the chain for the merge. So that was his tweet yesterday. And then, well, basically, ETH started pumping. Should you care? Well, an ETH token's kind of expensive, but an ETH token is also a passport to a whole world of other fun. Yeah, actually, well, here's a reason you might care. So the merge is moving ETH away from proof of work to proof of stake. If you don't know what the difference between the two is, then you should really go and do some homework into what blockchain is, what Bitcoin is, and how all of this works. But fundamentally, there is an enormous group of people who have been mining Ethereum tokens for the best part of 6 years now and made a ton of money off it. When we move to proof of stake, that source of income goes away. And that's a big deal, because we're moving from a system in which miners, people who were running very expensive computer rigs, had all the power, to one where inevitably it's going to be VCs and big power players with big deep pockets hoover up all the tokens and just stake them. So no more mining for miners. And we're going to see a new fork called ETH POW. Now, if you're not used to forks and what they mean, it's basically the code is open source. Somebody can take that open source code, clone it, and then make a new version of it for themselves. And Bitcoin has been forked innumerable times. There's a map you can find online that shows all the different projects and how they were forked from Bitcoin. ETH has also been forked. The contentious hard fork that happened after the DAO hack resulted in ETC, Ethereum Classic, a different version of Ethereum that was more true to the original philosophy of the Ethereum network. But that's not the one that most people use. Most people use Ethereum, and that is the one that we are now seeing merge into a proof of stake full blockchain. So what does that mean for you as an ETH holder? Well, all the Bitcoin forks that happened in the past, anyone who held BTC was given an equal amount of the fork tokens as well. So all ETH holders will be dropped ETH POW tokens. You just automatically get them. That's fun. That's just free money. So Ethereum devs have confirmed the perpetual date for the merge. And why is that interesting? This is July the 15th. Because what it did, if you look at July 15th, it caused a massive jump in the price of Ethereum. The merge trade took us from $1,000 a token to $2,000 a token. So it was a tradable event. And that's why you might care about this, because the ETH merge trade is a tradable event. Does that mean we're going to get back to 2,000? I don't know. I can't make that kind of prediction. It's possible that we can get all the way up to 2,500, but given the way things are in the market at the moment, I don't know. And I don't like to make predictions about that kind of thing, but what I do know is that the market is, like, once again looking up, and it's a movement that you could indeed trade. So going back to those Bitcoin forks in 2017, the reason they happened was really about philosophical differences between the different paths that Bitcoin could take in order to scale to meet the demand that people saw for Bitcoin back in 2017. Things look very, very different now, but there was real optimism back then that it could become a unit of account, a form of payment, that Lightning would allow it to become this fully adopted global alternative financial system. Now, things haven't really worked out that way, and a lot of it's down to the fact that the developers, the key power players within the Bitcoin ecosystem, couldn't really agree on the best route forward. And that's what happened with these forks. Bitcoin Cash was the most prominent of these, but we saw other ones like Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Gold, and then I've picked out Bitcoin God because that one was set up by Chandler Guo. And this is his tweet from the 4th of December 2017. Bitcoin God will be forked off the main Bitcoin chain at the block height of 501225, which happened on December the 25th, to be symbolic of me giving candy to all Bitcoin holders. Candy. Thanks, Chandler. And it's no coincidence that I put that there, because Chandler is the man behind ETH-POW. Here's a lovely graph from CoinGecko from 2017 of all those different forks. Bitcoin Cash was by far the most successful. Then we had Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Hot, Super Bitcoin, Oil Bitcoin, Bitcoin X, Bitcoin World, Lightning Bitcoin, Bitcoin God, Bitcoin Cash Plus, B2X Segwit, United Bitcoin, Bitcoin Ore, Bitcoin Smart, Bitcoin Interest. Now, why am I bringing all these up? Well, if you remember last year, everyone started forking Ohm. When there's an idea that gains popularity, it gets forked senseless. Yes, it does. And people chase those forks with diminishing returns. The same thing happened with these Bitcoin forks. Bitcoin Cash, as we'll see later on, was ridiculously successful. It made people an absolute shit ton of money. It was this crazy period where suddenly there was just this influx of free money, free cash into the market, and everything went berserk. And I'm not saying it's going to happen again this time, but it was a big deal. And what you saw happen was every single human anywhere connected to the space sold everything they had to acquire Bitcoin, to pick up that fork and get the free money, which meant that every other token was just pummeled into the ground. And that's probably what we're going to see happen this time. Although, on the flip side of it, at that particular period in time, the market was still in the middle of a bull run, and everything was a lot more positive, and there was a lot more money just in the market generally. That's not where we are right now. So this is ETH-POW, this is Chandler Guo, and if you want to get a sense of what ETH-POW might be worth, although this is very much just a guide, you can look at the IOUs that you can acquire. This is just basically a bet on the future price of ETH-POW. And these are trading at the moment for $47.59. ETH at the moment is trading for around $1,600 or so, which means ETH-POW is around 2.7, 2.8% of ETH, which, I mean, it's okay. That Bitcoin Cash fork, when it dropped, was around 10% of Bitcoin price. So, you know, still free money, but it's not amazing free money. But of course, it might pick up a trade. And that's where things get speculative and kind of interesting. So how can you play this? So the tactic, if you want to get ETH-POW tokens and get that airdrop, is you have to have ETH on mainnet. So if you've been playing on Arbitrum or on Optimism or on any of these other layer 2s, or you have wrapped ETH on Avalanche or Solana, then you need to get it back onto the ETH mainnet. Otherwise, your wallet will not be picked up in the snapshot and you will not get those tokens. Other thing to do is make sure you don't have the tokens on an exchange. Often what we've seen with forks is that exchanges will give you the tokens and then they'll set up a market so you can trade them as well. It's not guaranteed. And ETHPOW is a bit of a strange one because we don't know how much support it has. What we do know is that there are a lot of miners and they might well decide that this is a place to make a stand and to, pick up some extra capital for those mining rigs. Or they might not. We just don't know. You also need to remove liquidity from DeFi protocols. So if you have ETH in a liquidity position like on Uniswap, make sure you remove it. If you want those tokens, it might be more profitable for them to stay exactly where they are. That's a decision you will have to make for yourself. Bear in mind, you are taking a giant risk here. You are taking the bet that if you bought your ETH tokens early enough and picked up the updraft so that they are in a profitable position from when you bought them. So let's say you bought them at 1,000 and then you sell them at 2,000, then great. But if you're looking to exploit the ETHPOW tokens as well as everything else, you might find it's just not worth it. Another tactic you could use is to borrow more ETH on Aave or Compound, supplying collateral and then borrowing ETH against it. Or you could borrow against an NFT on BendDAO or NFT5. And again, bear in mind that as people sell more and more assets for ETH, that will crunch the price of the assets that they are selling. So you might find people panic selling NFTs and dropping the price as well, which would put any loan position you had more at risk. So make sure if you're taking out a loan, you set the levels conservatively. Next thing to do, sell the confirmation. As soon as we have the fact that the merge has happened, the price of ETH will drop. People will sell because the trade is over. And that doesn't mean that ETH is dead, it's just the way markets work. The next thing you need to do is sell the fork tokens themselves. Now, I cannot make any prediction about what those fork tokens are going to do. I remember back in 2017 when Bitcoin Cash launched, I just thought people will sell these instantly, but they didn't. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. The volume that was pointed towards Bitcoin Cash was absolutely insane. And the trading, I remember people just making fortunes overnight on Bitcoin Cash. Who knows? The funny thing about crypto is the thing you least expect to happen is usually the thing that does happen. The thing you least expected to happen this year was the collapse of Terra and UST. And what happened? So once you've done that, make sure you sell your ETH at a good moment and then buy back ETH to repay any loans you have. And then, of course, you might see some more additional forks. So we looked at that chart with Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Diamond, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin God, copycats. And again, diminishing returns. And if people see that, we're all rushing in like idiots to pick up these forks, then that's just a honey trap for scammers. So just be aware. Last thing we're going to do is look at this Bitcoin Cash initial performance here. So this is what I'm talking about. So it launched in August or so, and then there was this initial, and then people just sold it off. And that took a little while. And then it went bananas. It went absolutely bananas. It went all the way up to, I can scarcely believe my eyes when I look at this. It's just insane how far it went up. There was all this talk of Bitcoin Cash being the real Bitcoin. It was insane. So, this is what can happen. But just also bear in mind that at this particular period in time, Bitcoin itself went up to 20 grand. But even so, that's still a monstrous performance. And now Bitcoin Cash trading at $125 or so today. So it hasn't sustained that performance in any way. And I think if you went back and looked at this particular period here, this might have been where there was a fork in Bitcoin Cash itself. But anyway, that's certainly a way of playing the merge trade. It might be a little bit late in the day to do so, but you can swim upstream or you can swim with the stream. And in this case, it's the most obvious place to think about trading or parking money. And even if you don't, to understand why your other tokens or your NFTs might be losing value in the face of what is the biggest narrative in the market today. So that's it for today. As always, please do leave any suggestions for a tutorial in the comments below. make sure to check out the newsletter and the website and all the other great videos we have made about this. There is a full video on the ETH merge that we made a few months back. That might be a place to park your eyeballs and suck up some sweet food for your brain. Do that. Subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace!